Welcome everybody to Pelican Bay's Mellow Yellow open workouts. We're gonna look at how she trains, how she's getting down, and we're gonna do it live. What you're looking at now is a 10-pound weight. I got 40s 10-pound weights on her weight on her sled, plus the 20 pounds that the sled weighs. So that's about a good 60, 65 pounds at least 65 pounds. I'm gonna show you, let her work it. It's gonna give her a little bit of trouble, and I'm gonna explain to you what I'm doing. So y'all just sit tight, my brothers and sisters, and remember, the Samurai Kennel Digital Dog Show, October the 31st, is going down. Bella versus Mellow Yellow, Mellow Yellow versus Bella, PBK and AQ meeting in the middle like two freight trains. As you can see, the weight is giving her a little bit of problem. It's two reasons I'm showing you this video. One, to let you see her workout. Two, to let you see, always never underestimate these dogs' strength. When we put them on these chains, when we put them in these cages, and you think your dog is he's secured, imagine when he gets juiced up. Imagine when he gets all the way souped up. Can that same chain hold him? Can that same cage hold her? And this is why I say you got to know your dog. I know what it takes to get Mellow Yellow to open all the way up. So what I do is I go get a yard blower. Now watch her pull this 65 pounds, if not 70 pounds, when I'm got the yard blower in front of her. Stay. What I say? Stay. Down. Down. Stay. Stay. Now I will say, in my opinion, there's two ways, at least I be seeing two ways that brothers work these dogs, sisters work these dogs. One way is working them down. When you taking the weight down and you get them to his weight. The other is working him up when he stays skinny and you trying to add muscle and add weight to him, and you really don't have to put no work into him as far as having him looking ripped up and stuff like that. Me, I take the route of taking my dog down. You know what I'm saying? Cause see, I'll be the brother that big dog you when you try to bring your dog up, I'm bringing my dog down to your level. You know what I'm saying? Right now, she don't got an empty stomach. When it's time for the digital dog show, I know everything. I know the time, like I said. Make sure she got an empty stomach. And the stuff that I'm saying, my opponent can use it as tips for his own dog. But right now, you're looking at Mellow Yellow do her thing. She ain't gonna let that hide go. She gonna work that sleeve for the next 10 to 15 minutes live. I'm about letting the dogs do the talking, man. You know what I'm saying? And when she touch 4 feet, you can watch. While she's working her 2 legs, she's gonna dance around the ring. When she gets back down to 4 feet, she applies damage. She applies pressure. And like I said, this flirt pole is a multitasking flirt pole, spring pole. It really, really comes in handy. And this is another thing I seen out here when it come to these dogs, man. Don't let your dog bite sticks. Don't let your dog bite poles. Don't let your dog bite hard objects. When you see folk doing this type of stuff, they don't really have no interactions with the dog. They just trying to show you stuff on cameras. Why would you let your dog bite the stick or the flirt pole when you gonna mess his teeth up? That's the ivory. His ivory is part of him going to the show. His ivory is part of him doing whatever he's doing, if he hunting, if he doing anything. So when you see this stuff, you just pay attention to this stuff, my brothers and sisters. Cause I be noticing folk have their dogs biting on sticks, boards, and all kind of stuff. And that's not impressive. All you doing is damaging and hurting the dog. And Mellow Yellow gonna shake this sleeve until the sun go down. Like I said, I'm about making a dog be in shape. I wasn't real big on looking in shape. If I know I put that work in, I know he or she is in shape. That's why I say this is something new to me. Making a dog look fit when he don't have to actually have to be fit. You know, it's like this is reverse for me. What I'm used to doing. And now that the old Walkamo passed the name over to the new Walkamo, at this point, Pelican Bay know more about them dogs than the new Walkamo. You know, he never looked across and looked at me eye to eye and came up victorious. Anytime you looked at me from the other side, it was a defeat on his end. And plus the fact that these brothers don't know how to tell the truth and these brothers don't know how to be honest out here. You see, it seems that PBK is going to be one of the honest brothers with this Big John dogs. You just look at it like Mr. Cruz intent. Pay attention to the pedigrees. You know, pay attention to the pedigrees. And you notice when Mr. Cruz and Mr. Tant was partners with Yello, right? But when you seen Mr. Cruz drifting off and stop breeding to Yello, you should have known that something was wrong. You know, he just didn't go out and tell the public this and tell the public that. But Mr. Cruz stopped breeding with Yello for a reason. He don't want to be part of the foolery. So that's what PBK stand on in modern day time, man, when it comes to these dogs, when it comes to this Big John line, this Little John line. At this point, like I said before, I'm doing things with this line that nobody in history ever did. You know, nobody in history. See, I'm tired of biting my tongue now because I see folk ain't rocking with me the way I rock with them. And so at the end of the day, when it comes to that new Walkamo Dynamite, yeah, you could DJ better than me. But when it comes to these dogs, man, you can't get 20% out of them better than me. I'll chew you up and spit you the fuck out, you know? And it always been like that. Plain out and simple, man. PBK been doing and stepping when it comes to these dogs, man. I've been stepping the same way I'm going to step October the 31st against AQ when it's Bella dog. You know what I'm saying? Coming to chew up and spit out. Matter of fact, I can't even call you no Walkamo Dynamite. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that you bought a dog from, everybody that you sold a dog to, they got them dogs off the strength of me because half of them didn't even know what the Big John stuff bring to the table. You know? I kept that stuff legitimate over the past 3 years. Where folk want to talk about it on that level. You know? There's plenty of brothers out here with the dogs. But they ain't talking about the dogs, which it ain't no bad thing. It ain't no bad thing. But don't knock me because I talk about mine and I know that folk know it. I know folk tired of seeing that same old shit with these dogs. I know folk tired of hiding behind the curtain with these dogs. But instead of rocking with the Bay, folk come out here with the line, with this bullshit, and I ain't with it. Anybody in America know dog pounds don't hold dogs for 2 years. You see? I look at it like this. For a brother that ride or die with this Big John stuff, for this Big John stuff, folk told me 2 lies. It's either one of 2 lies, and I'm going to break it down to y'all brothers right here in this live workout and let you know why I feel the way I feel, you know, about that fake Walkamo shit. So the dogs got took on a Friday. Those fellas went to court on a Monday. 3 days later, everybody across the country know what the court people wanted back for them dogs. Everybody know the dogs was gone. Dynamite was nowhere around. At least making no noise, nowhere around. When them dog folk was at old buddy house, I was at a reputable lawyer named Lawyer Martin office trying to make sure them brothers straight. Why the police at their house? We don't know what's going on. Thanks by the grace of God, it wasn't a dog raid. It was just for chains and all that stuff. You know, this is one time where the dog people didn't make up something. You know, when I say make up something, I'm just making up charges. You know, chain violations. This guy was nowhere around. Mellow Yellow them a puppy. This guy nowhere around. Then you turn around Dynamite and tell me Groot is your dog. I talked to Groot's owner. Owners, him and her. The same folk that gave the real walk that puppy that you got over there in your yard. See, you somewhere or another you got fascinated because I was out here talking about this Big John stuff, and you got fascinated and you came up with some kind of idea on the back street, and you really didn't know what was going on out here in this social media world. It ain't my place to tell you now. You pass all that. Everybody got to stand on their own. You know? So I talked to the real walk, say the dog was gone. On the day of the court date, the dog was gone. So 2 years later, the fake walk say he got the dogs out the dog pound. Everybody know you're not getting no dogs out no dog pound, no animal shelter, no rescue for free. 3 days after the dogs got took, there was $20-some thousand. So you telling me 2 years later, you gonna get that? And then when you get that, 2 years later, you get dogs that ain't spaded, that ain't neutered. Ain't no vet, ain't no animal shelter gonna give you no dogs back 2 years later that ain't spaded and neutered. Next point I'm gonna make, you know, if you got the dogs back, that means the real walk lied to me from day one saying the dogs got tooken. So if you gotta lie to me about that, I don't need to be in the situation. Y'all do y'all. I'm good over here with my red boy Jocko, my yellow John dogs. You know what I'm saying? I'm good. We doing positive things with these dogs, and we ain't looking for folk trying to tag along and ain't trying to put in no work to help folk out this bitch. I ain't never once trying to tag off a pedigree. I'm out here with my dogs, putting in work with my dogs. You know? First thing you come out here doing, hey, trying to grease, tighten Kennel's pockets. When I say pockets, I don't mean my money. You trying to keep all the heat off of him when he over there doing shady stuff. You trying to keep the heat off of him because, oh, yeah, y'all gonna be boys because he gonna register that Big John shit up. And like I said, soon as I see it be registered up, one of them boys post a pedigree, I'm on it. I'm gonna drop content for a whole month. This is my lane. Now we may exaggerate, or we may lie or saying, oh, that dog is a supreme dog and he's a cur. I don't care about that. That mean the kind of lies we worrying about right now. You know? Oh, that dog right there, he's the best and he's all right. He ain't all that. That ain't what we worrying about right now. You know? At the end of the day, man, 2025, these brothers in this dog game, they want legitimate stuff. They don't want to be hearing about they got bootleg dogs 5 and 10 years down the line. And like I said before, if I ain't had the credentials to talk this shit, I wouldn't talk it. But I've been rocking and doing my thing since the 90s. And I'll say the same thing to any dog man. You know, ain't no dog man that exists to make me walk up and bow my head and act like I can't outdo you in whatever competition you want to do in. That's how I rock with it. So like I said, man, at the end of the day, we got them true yellow John dogs. We ain't lying about no sperm breeders. We ain't riding off no pedigrees. I tell brothers all the time, when you want to know about the dogs and the pedigrees, just Ask the bae. If I can't tell you, I can tell you somewhat some things about the dog. You know, if dog active, his color. I can tell you some things about the dog. See, somebody should have told you, Dynamite, that it's okay to start over. It's okay to start from a few dogs and then buy this dog from this brother, buy this dog from that brother, and build a yard back up. It's okay to do that. But when you get the lion, I got the dogs out the dog pound, knowing you don't got the dogs, knowing you trying to buy a dog from each one of these brothers from different states and make them think you got the dogs, and lying about giving them back puppies that you can't give back yet because you got dogs that's not really yours on the other side that you talking about. Like, you is in 1,000 places right now, little man, and you don't even understand what the game is doing right now. You know? You so bent on being called walk. And when it comes to Mellow Yellow, she's the replica of a dog I had in the past named Libya. She was off Crazy Girl and Fletcher. You know, she was off Crazy Girl and Fletcher, and I also had one named Favre. You can go look on online page, Pelican Bay's Baby Favre or Favre, and it was his sister, which was a Crazy Girl Fletcher breeding. You know, she reminds me a whole lot of that dog. Only thing different is Mellow Yellow is about 2 times the other dog size. Libya was a 30-some pound dog when Mellow Yellow is a 50-pound dog. You know, and what you're looking at right now, I did the weight pull at the beginning. You know, I really wasn't trying to have a pull for a long time. I let her do the spring pull, and then I open up with a little flirt pull action, letting her open her lungs up, you know, as well as she's, like I said before, she's breathing while she's gripped onto on the sleeve, you know. Of course she's breathing, but a lot of dogs, you know, they have trouble staying consistent because of that fact. So she's getting good air in, you know, while being able to stay on a high level. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in to the open workout. Like I said before, tune in October the 31st, Samurai Kennel Digital Dog Show. Mellow Yellow versus Bella is going down. Y'all have a good day.
Good girl. Get that girl. No.